What is up, LGBT Outdoors family? Thank you so much for tuning in to LGBT Outdoors Live tonight. We know that you are probably tired of watching stuff on videos and Zoom meetings and everything, and most likely you're in your pajama bottoms like I am right now. But hey, we're all here and we're going to have a good time tonight because we got an amazing guests that are going to be sharing with us in just a little bit. Before we dive into that, we want you to know that we are more than just an Instagram page. We're more than just a Facebook group. We are an organization that is dedicated to connecting the LGBTQ community to the outdoors and to each other. If you haven't ever checked it out, we would love you to check out our website. We have some great stuff on there and resources. We have our blogs. And if you're interested in being a guest blog, reach out to us because we'd love to talk to you about it. We also have an awesome directory. On the directory is outdoor resources for LGBTQ acceptive businesses and organizations. And if you are one of them or you know a business that should be listed, please let us know so that we can help connect more people to them. We also have our store. Our store has our t-shirts and caps up on it. We are slowly growing this and we are hoping that we can continue to grow it. So check it out, get familiar with the website. We have a lot of other cool things on there as well, like our ambassador programs and just a bunch of stuff. So go check it out after we get done tonight. Our guest tonight, I have come to know first through Instagram, and they have just been incredible guys to get to know. Their names are Dustin and Burton from North Carolina, and they have two amazing kids, Stone and Holland. And they love getting into the outdoors, getting their kids connected to the outdoors. And so from North Carolina, I want to say a big welcome to Dustin and Burton. Hey
Hi
guys.
there.
Hey, everyone.
Thanks for joining us tonight. We are so glad that you are here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
We're excited.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. There's so much to unpack with you guys. It's kind of hard to know where to start exactly. But let's kind of like back all of this up just a little bit and talk about just the two of you. How you guys maybe met, and were you active outdoors before the kids came along, or was that something that you decided you wanted to do after the kids came along?
Yeah, we've actually been friends for 15 years,
Yeah.
16 years. I'm losing track of time now, but we've been friends for a long time, since 2005-ish time frame.
Yeah.
And we met at a house party. I was throwing it, and Dustin came. I was dating someone at the time, and Dustin came with some other friends, and
Yeah. But I didn't like move in and was like we started out as friends.
Yeah.
And truly it was. And I just got to know Burton through the years.
Sure.
And we happened to fall in line where I was single, he was single, and we just saw each other with different eyes.
Right. I mean, our long-term goals and perspective, were really aligned at that point, and so it worked out well.
Yeah.
And it became romantic.
And 2 kids later,
it's worked out, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You think so? I hope so.
Well, I mean, with COVID, you never know. We've been trapped with each other for months now.
No, we still get along perfectly.
Yeah.
If we can survive quarantine with husbands, like I think we're doing pretty
Right.
good, right?
Yeah.
And kids that are not in school. I mean,
Right.
it's chaotic.
Yeah, that takes it to a whole nother level. Like me and my
Yeah.
husband, we don't have kids. We have a new puppy, which is probably
Yeah, hey,
That's
that's a lot of work
Yeah,
too.
it is
a lot of work, but not like kids, especially twins. Tell us a little bit about your kids, Stone and Holland, and how old they are they now?
So they're 4. They turned 4 in July, and they're just awesome.
They're amazing little creatures.
Yeah.
Very smart and sharp, and extra sweet. And of course, they're ours, so we're biased against over all of these things. But they are, they were in school before the whole COVID challenge, and now they're kind of at home. We have a full-time nanny who's involved with us, and here with me all day long. Dustin's in and out. He works. He owns a salon, so he works there some days per week. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So busy household.
Busy household.
Yeah, I bet. Tell us about them a little bit more. Like, I feel like we talked about this a little bit earlier before we came on, but I feel like we're in a time where families can look so diverse and so different, and they can be whatever you want them to be in all reality.
Sure.
And I'm sure that there's a lot of people that maybe not aren't in a relationship right now, but one day they have the hope of having kids, and seeing a couple
Yeah,
like you encourages them. And I was like, I can actually have that. That's something I can obtain one day. Can you walk us
yeah.
through your journey and share a little bit with me about how maybe even the discussion even started coming up, your options that you had before us, and why you went maybe the route that you did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that we both wanted kids. Like,
Yeah, I've always wanted kids, even from a very early age. That was something that was a must in my life. And especially knowing that I was gay, I knew there was going to be challenges there, but that wasn't going to stop me.
yeah.
For sure.
And I, growing up, didn't have, I didn't know if I could ever have kids, just because I didn't really have any examples. I never thought I could really come out of the closet, just because of my background. I grew up in a very conservative home. And so as I kind of grew into myself and really started to, think about my future, I really was like excited about the possibilities of having kids. But, the resources weren't really out there, which is really why we've kind of put ourselves out there to kind of help people
Yeah.
and mentor people. And as we started diving in, we started looking at every option. We looked at adoption, foster care,
Yeah. Surrogacy, of course, and then surrogacy is where we landed. And there was some part of us, or a large part of us, that really wanted to see a piece of ourselves in our children. Having that, there's something special about having blood, genetics, and being able to see some of your components of yourself in a young human,
or your spouse,
or your spouse. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's it's a really beautiful thing. So that's
Yeah.
we went this path. But we've always, as we talked about doing, even if we want to grow our family at some point, we would definitely go a foster route, or even adoption route at this point.
Yeah. And maybe do some older kids that are really needing a home. And what we've learned through this whole process, me personally, why I thought that surrogacy would have been a good option, just because of time. Like,
Sure. Yeah.
at the time, I was in my, going into my late 30s, and I was, I know that adoption can take 5, 6, could take a long time for you to land placement. And with foster, it's a similar situation. And we were at a time in North Carolina where it wasn't as progressive. Like, there was HB2 going on. There was
the notorious bathroom bill that was happening here. So.
We had some tricky things in our own state, and so we really went through surrogacy to kind of to just pick their brains to see what that looked like. And because we could have a little bit more control of that, it looked like a timeline could have been a faster route too. And we were just ready to start and grow our family. Just
we honestly didn't think we would move as fast as we did. We went into a clinic, as an IVF clinic here in Raleigh, North Carolina, and they were it's kind of a one-stop shop. They do all of the they have databases of egg donors, of surrogates or gestational carriers, and they do the IVF there too on site, and they have other resources for even legal and psychological evaluation. So we went in and had the initial conversation with them just to do a little research. And when we walked out of there, we immediately wanted to start looking at egg donors. And so it just took off from there. And from start to finish, it was only 14 months before the time we walked into the clinic to the time we had babies in hand. And that's really quick.
Yeah, it happened a lot faster than we anticipated, which was amazing. So, but something that we've learned, through this process, no matter what route that you take, yes, one of our children, so our the way that our family is structured, Burton was saying, seeing a piece of me or seeing a piece of him, and vice versa. At the end of the day, when you have a child, it doesn't matter if you've adopted or if you fostered or if it is biologically tied to you, that child is your child.
Yeah. It's unconditional love.
It is unbelievable. Yeah.
That's pretty incredible. And that happened way faster than what I realized it even would through surrogacy. So that's fascinating. Do you think that most of the time it does happen pretty fast, or
No, there's a full spectrum, wide range of challenges, roadblocks. Stars have to be aligned at certain points, and we had to, when you're dealing with a gestational carrier surrogate type of thing, egg donation, you have to kind of align everything up, right? So there are different cycles you have to go through for the egg donation. The surrogate or gestational caregiver might not be available. She may be helping some other family, and so you
Yeah.
really need to you have to kind of almost like project management, putting all the pieces together to make it happen. A lot of Excel spreadsheets
Yeah.
involved.
And sometimes you don't get good eggs when you're retrieving the
Yeah.
eggs, and sometimes that's a process, or
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't take. So we know couples that we've chatted with and mentored with that have been at it for years. I was a little more I was naive going into it, thinking, no, this is going to be quick, and we were very fortunate.
Yeah.
But we know friends that are still in the process, and just things constantly come up. So no person's path is going to be the same. It's always going to be different.
No guarantees for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have it? I'm curious. Do you have any tips on or suggestions if somebody is wanting to go down this path of how to find a clinic to use that you could feel is welcoming for the LGBTQ community?
There's a lot of resources out there. I think even the Gays with Kids, Instagram. If you go to their Instagram, I think they're helping a lot with some of these, some of these, resources, clinics, and things like that. That may
Yeah.
be one option for this.
Yeah, and then you always have to be careful because every single state is different, which
Right.
is really interesting with the laws and protecting that whole process. So you really need to know in each state kind of what rights that you have to
Right.
that child. Um,
There's
and
the legal stuff is a barrier in a lot of places, so you need to be very careful in that respect.
Yeah.
And of course, any lawyer can help out and understand what the state that you're in.
if you're ever in North Carolina, we would highly recommend our fertility clinics. They're amazing.
Yeah, we would.
So-
And there's, you can go across state boundaries from what I understand. Yeah. So there's a lot of folks who, if you want to explore that, we would be happy to, reach out to us on Instagram. We'd be
Yeah.
happy to, refer you over to the clinic and
Yeah.
introduce you
awesome.
to those folks.
Because not only do you want a good clinic, but the lawyers too, you want to make sure that they're LGBTQ friendly and,
Yeah.
and helpful and advocates. So all of that needs to happen. And, the clinic that we went through, Carolina Conceptions, they were amazing, and they were all of that.
Yeah, they
helped
were
us.
super caring. They understood our family dynamics. They cheered us on the entire time. It was great. I mean, clapping when we came in the door, when we knew that we had viable eggs, when we knew our eggs had taken, and when we had twins, it was like high fives all around. And we can't
Yeah.
wait for your family to grow. And it was just a really beautiful experience. It was great. And especially being in a state like North Carolina, you would not think that would be. I don't know,
Might not be the case.
might
but
not be
yeah,
the case, and but so anyway, I
we were
think
fortunate.
we were,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's really cool. And I think maybe some people could be watching and think like we're making this possibly sound really easy. You guys decided this was right. You're going to go 14 months later. You've got kids and you're at home and you're a happy family. And not to scare anybody by any means, but I do want to put the reality out there that you really do want to have the lawyer. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but in some states, if you're using uh, the lady that will be carrying, if you're using her eggs, she possibly could have parental rights to the kids.
Right.
Is that right?
And that's why we kept it separate. We made sure that North Carolina, even if the law, even if no matter what the law states, because laws can change at any time, especially during a 9-month process, things can happen and change and shift. So we wanted to make sure that there was no genetic ties to the amazing woman who carried our babies, right?
Yeah.
We had we wanted there to be completely separate, and so there was no there's no way it could
That's why
go
we
like that.
chose the path of a gestational carrier. So that I think people get, and I didn't really know this either. I just thought the word surrogate was a blanket term for anyone that was carrying a baby for someone else. A surrogate is typically someone who uses their own egg, and then after they have the child, then that child is yours. A gestational carrier or a gestational surrogate is someone who basically has no biological ties. You're implanting a donor egg, and so in the state of North Carolina, the laws worked better in that favor. But there are some states that completely are in your favor as someone who is not genetically tied, and you were to use just a surrogate. So those are the kind of things that you really want to research and look into.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think we have a question that would be great for this time. So we're going to pop it up from Peter. Um, I would imagine this is very expensive. You guys
Oh
care
my
to
gosh.
hit on
So
that a little bit?
Yeah, it's an expensive process, but it's it can range and it ranges and it's hard to even give a blanketed an amount, but you can anywhere from 80,000 to $120,000 is the
or even
typical.
more, because if you go with an agency,
Yeah.
because there are agencies that will handhold you the entire way, and you're going to pay for those expenses. We went through the fertility clinic, so we bypassed that agency.
And
so
we kind of did all the pieces ourselves. They referred us to lawyers and to psychological folks, and so we were able to kind of go out and pick our own psychologist and pick our own lawyer. But
yeah, and our clinic was really good about kind of leading us to those people. But so it really, really depends. Now you have to realize that there are things that we were able to do as well. Like Burton works for a large company, and they help pay for fertility. So if you're working for a certain company, you should definitely look into seeing, because a lot of people don't even know that that's a thing. They could be working for a company that they get expenses for adoption, fostering, or surrogacy.
Yeah, and those were kind of hidden. I didn't even know beforehand. I had my kids, and when after taking the parental leave, I came back, and one of the ladies that I work with, she told me that, I mean, she'd gone through foster care or adoption or something like that, and she said there's a whole benefits here for this, and so and it's per kid, and so I was able to recoup some of the money that we spent. So if you work for a company, go to there first and see what benefits you may have, and we're able to and they basically reimburse you after the fact for that.
And
so
that's not an insurance thing, right? That's just something
no,
special
this
that
is
your
this is a
company
benefit
does.
at a large company. I'm sure a lot of large companies kind of have that same benefit. I don't know that the amounts probably vary greatly, but it's something to explore. And there's also financing available too for this, right? It's just like it sounds silly, but I mean, if you're going to buy an $80,000 car, you're going to finance it. Same thing, here you can do that as well. And so there's a lot of options out. So if you want a family, I would not let that deter you, right? I mean, same thing. If you want an education, you go get a loan. If you want a house or a car, you get a loan. So do the same thing here.
And it's worth every penny.
Worth every
like
I bet
10 times.
I bet.
10 times.
I would.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I mean, I felt like I keep up with your guys' YouTubes a lot and saw the video on this, and so I feel like I'm even learning more that we're getting into that I think is very beneficial and awesome. So now let's jump forward a little bit. You've got the kids.
Yeah.
Let's talk about outdoors. Were you two both active in the outdoors before the kids came along, or was that something new that you decided, hey, we've got kids, it's going to be great for them to get outdoors? What's that look like?
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I grew up outdoors. I grew up on a farm. So we live in Raleigh, and 10 minutes down the road, 15 minutes down the road, there's a farm where I grew up, and so I spent my entire life outdoors, running around on hundreds of acres of land and being able to build forts and explore. So that was really an awesome experience growing up, and that really just has stayed with me. And and then meeting Dustin, or when we started dating and stuff, part of finding our peace, and quiet, and is really going out to the outdoors. Hiking is one of our most favorite things, and I think it's something that we're now getting our kids into, which they're starting to really.
I mean, so like we've always loved it, and that's kind of one of the things that we connected on when we started dating. Like our dates would be us biking all day or going for hikes, and then we started planning our vacations around hiking. Hiking has always been kind of a big thing for us. We're also into like winter sports too. Like he's a snowboarder. I love skiing. But like
it's kind of a house divided there.
I think it's like at that cusp. Like everyone my age and older skied, and then like everyone like underneath me would snowboard.
Well, how can I not be Burton and not be on a Burton snowboard? That's like all of this stuff this is something. And also I went to college up at Appalachian State University, so that's in the mountains of North Carolina. And so part of the classes you can take were skiing or snowboarding. So it was just
just so not fair. So, I didn't. If I knew that, I would have gone there.
It's so awesome. I mean, we've always been in love with outdoors, mountains.
Yeah, and I mean that's like our honeymoon. We planned it around a month of hiking in New Zealand. Our baby moon, when we knew the kids were coming, we planned a trip upstate to go hiking. And the thing is like we love it, and we always knew that we wanted to integrate that into our kids' life. I think it's super important in this day and age. And it's funny because like we do a lot of social media, but we also think it's so important to unplug from that and then get outdoors and explore. And we really want our kids to do that. I grew up playing in creeks, my whole life, and we want to have that for our children. Now, it has slowed down since we've had kids, just because we would do really challenging hikes, and we can't do that with kids. We were really young. We were throwing them in packs and doing hikes, but now that they're a lot bigger, like they're too heavy to carry around. I mean, talk about a workout.
Yeah, and it's always a balance of how far to hike into the woods before you know that they're going to lose it, and then you're going to have to carry them back out that same distance. So you need to, at some point, you just have to take a gut check and say, are we far enough where we cannot walk back with a kid holding them?
But we're looking forward to, as they get older, to be able to kind of do more challenging hikes and biking and things like that with them. And this year we're hoping to get them skiing. So we're going to attempt skiing with them for the first time. So we'll see how that goes.
And the amazing part about living where we live in Raleigh, we're a few hours from the mountains, a few hours from the beach. So we have a lot of, of course, in Raleigh in general, it's a lot of green space, a lot of hiking and rivers and beautiful outdoor space. So we feel like we live in a great area for this.
Yeah.
So we want our kids to fall in love with it too.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can relate to you guys. I grew up on a farm in Missouri, and I just being a kid and running the creeks and being barefoot like 99% of the time out in the country. I just
it's like
loved it.
I'm serious. I don't know what I did. I don't know what I ate and drank all day long. I left when the sun came up. I ran out the door, and when I came home when the sun went down, and I don't know what I did all day. Seriously, I racked my brain all the time, and I asked my parents, like, I don't know. You were just a skinny little kid.
That's awesome. What do you feel like your kids are picking up on certain activities that you feel like they're already gravitating towards in the outdoors, or right now it might be still too early to know what they're going to like?
I think it's a lot of play and exploring right now. Yeah.
So when we go hiking now, we try to get to something where they have a little bit of an activity, not just not on a hike where we think it's beautiful because they maybe don't appreciate it yet. So maybe hiking beside a river where they can stop and play and build a little dam or something like that. So those are the types of things. And biking they're getting into. They love, not on their own bikes yet. We're getting some for Christmas. They're real big kid bikes, but on the back of our bikes, we have the little car seats and having them ride in there, and they love that. They'll sit there for hours and hours and hours, not say a word and complain. So they have to enjoy it. Yeah, because they will let you. They're very vocal when they don't enjoy something.
I love that. Like with the bike, we're able to kind of get them on and just like we can go full speed. I mean, not full speed. We're careful parents, but more so. But now they're getting like our son has gotten so big, like he's over the capacity of that seat now.
Now he is.
So like we can't do that anymore.
But and we have when we do bike with them, we're really extra careful, of course. But we have a ton of greenways, and so they connect all around Raleigh. So they go under all the major roads and bridges above the roads, but along creeks and rivers, and just it's really neat how much greenway activity that we have around.
Really cool. I'm sure with kids, there's all kinds of challenges that pop up and you face probably on about a daily basis. But are there any challenges that you faced when you first started connecting the kids to the outdoors that might help others in the same situation? Or any tips that you want to give them that this is a good way to start introducing your kids to the outdoors? I know you mentioned definitely taking it slow and especially like on hikes, not going too far and that kind of thing. But anything else that
bring
really
diapers when they're in diapers because we learned the hard way the first hike that we
did we forget?
I think we left it in the car. We went on that really long hike and they were in our packs, and that was we had to use leaves or I don't know. It was weird. But
we had to clean.
So bring diapers. That's one tip.
Do not forget diapers.
Nature, right?
Especially with young kids, you're trying to keep that balance too, because you're trying to keep them safe. Now it's a little more freedom. They can do things, and we don't care. But if you're having your 2-year-old around a river or creek, it's very scary. So it could be. The thing to prepare for it is that when hiking before kids is really peaceful. You're out there and you can reset your mind and you can enjoy it. With kids, it's all about them enjoying it. So you're freaking out the entire time while they're putting pine cones in their mouth or trying to jump in the creek and get away. So it's just,
I think you have to remember as parents, like we live in a time where it's so easy to just grab a tablet or throw your kids in front of a TV, just so that you can get some work done or some peace. I just think it's really important, no matter how old the kid is, even at a really young age, to get outside and do stuff to really integrate that. Because when you're hiking or out by the water or just going for a walk, I mean, it just calms your brain, it calms your body, and it does the same thing with kids. And it's part of a really important developmental, phase of their life. So I think the earlier, the better. And you just, it's not, if you're super active and you love a good challenge, it'll be a different challenge, right? So you're not physically being challenged as much, but you're starting that relationship and building that really special time and bond with your kids.
Right. And when they're out in the, in a field somewhere or in a forest, it really, they have no toys, so they're gonna make their own toys, and so it really sparks their imagination. And you can see that running wild, especially with two, because they're interacting with each other and playing and building, little forts or exploring stuff. So it's really cute, but it's also important. But it also helps them be. It helped me be resourceful in life. I was able to do all kinds of things outdoors that I think made me a little more independent and also resourceful.
Definitely. I want to remind anybody that's watching, if you have questions for Dustin or Burton or myself, feel free to put them in the comments box, and we'll get to them as we can or hit them at the end as well. So just want to throw that reminder out there to everyone. I think this could be a big question that maybe some parents might be concerned about. Obviously, things are a little bit different for a same-sex couple with kids. When you're taking them out into nature and into public areas, are you generally pretty welcomed with other people, or how do you approach that, and how do you handle that? Or do you try to go to areas where it's not quite as busy and you guys could just be free to not worry about the public being around?
It's funny. We were just talking about this. We did a dad's only trip to Breckenridge, Colorado. Check out the YouTube on that one. And and we discussed this as we were going through. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so like I don't think we shield ourselves or hide ourselves. Like we're very proud of who we are as a family. And I think that's important that as a parent, you have to remember how you respond is, not only the person that's, might be asking a sharp question or a pointed question or prodding, like your children are listening to that response as well. So, we have been on hikes where people have stopped us and they said, oh my gosh, are you guys, like, which one's yours? Which one's yours? Are you guys babysitting for your wives? Like, really kind of asking, these questions, which is interesting because you probably never ask, just another normal couple of the dynamic of the family situation. But we just proudly say, no, this is my husband. These are our kids, and I think that's important. And when they're younger, it won't matter. But as they are older, they're going to listen to your reaction and how you say something and in such a proud way and an informative way, and not making a big deal about it, because it isn't a big deal. So, I mean,
and usually, but we don't have, there's no negativity that we've experienced, right? But there is, of course, there are those questions, but generally, when you're on a hike and you're outdoors, everyone's happy. Overwhelmingly, they're pleasant, they're happy, they're enjoying themselves, they're smiling because they're not stuck in an office on a Zoom call with coworkers and with business up top and casual on the bottom. I don't know. It's just it's a different experience. So there's just a more open-mindedness out there anyway. And
I definitely think that, like, as we've explored more, and especially in the hiking world, like, everyone that we come across is always so friendly. That doesn't mean everyone is, but like everyone's always so pleasant when we're passing. Like, hey, just you got this, keep going, or be careful for there's a snake ahead or whatever, or dog poo. And so usually people are super, super nice, but so we don't really live in a sense of fear. I mean, as a parent, I think in general, it doesn't matter if you're gay or straight. I think you have that papa bear instinct to watch out for your kids no matter what. And that goes across the board of gay or straight. I mean, and I never really tapped into that emotion until I had a kid, until we had kids, because I mean, we did have one unpleasant experience where, there was some people that, were saying some pretty nasty stuff to us. They waited until they got into the car and drove off and started yelling at us when Burton and I were just playing in a field with our kids. And I'm not aggressive, but like that instinctual protective like papa bear came out, and I was like, I think you have that in you, as a parent in general, but you have to always remember that your kids are watching you and how you react. So
definitely, I love what you said, and I totally agree with it. Like the more that people see couples with their kids, same-sex couples with their kids, even without kids, just out in public, acting and behaving like an opposite sex couple, the more that normalizes it and the more people get used to that. And so I think that that's a really good point. Little funny story, like I remember when you mentioned like which one's yours and whatnot, made me remember my husband Patrick and we went on a cruise one time, to work. We do photography and video projects, and we were doing a video project. And we got in the elevator, and there was a man and a woman, and there are a couple kids. And the man looks at us and he goes, "I know what's going on here." And Patrick and I were like, "He does?" We're like, "What?" He's like, "A brother's trip, right?" And we were like, no. Try again." So there could be some awkward moments, but it's okay because we can educate and make it more of a normal thing. I mean, we are in 2020 after all, so that's really cool.
Absolutely.
So I want to move on a little bit because I know that you guys have a big announcement you want to make, and so we are dying to hear it, and we want everybody else to be able to hear it. So I'm going to let you guys just jump in with that.
We do. We actually, this is the first time we're announcing it. We kind of alluded to it last week. We were going to launch a YouTube, and
we are launching. That is still coming tomorrow. Yeah, and but we were planning on announcing it there, but we're doing a little sneak peek with you guys.
So and we bought a farm. Yeah, and but it's not just any farm, right? It's the family farm that I grew up on. So it's been in the family for many generations. Over 150 years or more. So it's a very old farm, a lot of legacy there, and it's really special. I mean, it's situated between two big parks, like a 100 acre parks, two of them on each side, a big lake that wraps around it, and so it's very beautiful, and it's only 10 minutes, like I mentioned earlier, it's only 10 minutes down the road from where we are now.
Yeah, I mean, going back to our roots, what we were saying of just kind of wanting to create that space for our kids, to be able to run and play and have that type of freedom. But we're actually wanting to tap into ag tourism and build glamping cabins. We're going to have animals on this farm. We're thinking alpacas. So we're eventually wanting to do a wedding venue there, but it's really beautiful, and there's tons of hiking trails like around our property, and then we'll connect those trails through our property in some regards, so the people that are staying on our property and our cabins will be able to utilize those other parks.
There's a boat house and fishing pier and all these other things. So it's just a really special place, and we really want our kids. I want our kids to have the same experience I had growing up, being able to run out the door and go explore the land all around you, and and you have building forts, playing in creeks, all of that fun stuff. Having snakes chase you around is always a good water moccasin chase never hurt anybody.
I beg to differ.
I think my husband would beg to differ with that too. I hate spiders, he hates snakes, so it works out. We could take care of each other. So I'm thinking that we need to plan like an LGBT Outdoors trip out there.
We have it up and running.
Check it out. Up and running.
We'll have camp there. We can,
I mean, this is, we want to open it up to the public there. It'll be, like Dustin said, agritourism, where we want people to walk over, blur the lines between these parks and where this land is, and be able to come and explore an active working farm. host your event there, have lunch there, have a beer there,
Yeah.
or even spend the night there. And so it's just we want to create a really neat experience for the community.
For the community, and of course we want it to be on the regular, so people during the week can come over, because we want to create a farmers market there that people can go and explore that. Maybe eventually a brewery and a restaurant, and then have this beautiful event space too for people to have their their weddings there, and create beautiful memories there, and be able to stay on the property as well. So lots of different moving parts, and I think it's just going to be a fun project and a lot of fun for us to build, and our kids to help us create this. And then when we get tired and old and die, we can hand it off to our kids and they can do it.
That's so cool. Well, congratulations, guys. That sounds incredible. And I think for sure Patrick and I are going to come out and visit once you get it up and going.
Yeah, we'd love for you guys.
That's
too.
what we want.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to come and visit us.
And we're showing the farm tomorrow on our YouTube. So if you want to look into that and see the property and kind of show what we're envisioning for the space, that's a good way to see it.
Yeah,
awesome.
Kind of see the old dilapidated hog pens and things like that too.
Just see exactly how much work we have ahead of us.
Right. There's nothing easy about a farm, right? Especially when you have all these goals and dreams.
Especially one that's not active. There's a lot of cleanup to do first, and then he's the visionary with a lot of space and design, so that's going to have to play a big part of it too.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
It's going to be never-ending fun.
We're excited to see that for sure. We have a couple more questions that's come in, so let's pop those up and hit them. From Nick, thank you for sharing your experiences. You both are incredibly strong, and you give me a lot of hope for my future as a gay parent. So, a word of encouragement. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Super sweet. Thank you so much.
And Taylor and Todd, hi guys. How have you found navigating being visible online with protecting the kiddos' privacy? Great question.
Yeah, and we know Tyler and Todd. Hey guys. So it's as the kids are getting older, we definitely want to start protecting their privacy. And we, part of our, we have part of our social media following that's out there. We want to continue to showcase our family, but not. We do want to protect our kids and start to wean them off a little more on.
I think as they get older and as they start coming into their own, we want to give them that space to do that. So I mean, I definitely feel like we are going to do that. Right now it's like we share moments of us just playing and being silly and things like that, but we know that there's a time that we're gonna probably shield them from all of that, and and we'll still share our journey of like what we're doing on the farm, things like that.
But basically let them make the choice. Do you want to be a part of this or not?
Right.
That's
yeah.
That sounds amazing. We're going to start to wrap up, but before we do, I want to just give you a moment. If you have any final words of encouragement or words of wisdom as gay parents that you would like to share, anything else that you feel our audience might benefit from, just give you a minute for that if there is anything.
Do you have anything?
Words of wisdom. I'll never peg myself as a wisdom-filled person.
Keep them alive.
No, I mean, I think it's just important to stay positive, do things that inspire you, that you love, and to be yourself and to not live in fear. I mean, part of why we share our lives is, we think that more exposure to people like us and families like ours, it makes it a safer place for our kids, because it brings you awareness that we exist. And so I think that's really important. So, be proud of who you are and know who you are and walk in your truth. And
right, and be as authentic as possible. And to Dustin's earlier point, that we've had actually a lot of straight people reach out to us, we've been able to change mindsets of people's. Usually it's women who have husbands and said that my husband's been. I showed my husband your Instagram and he started following you. He's been like, wow, these guys are amazing. So, and before he was, maybe not as
He was homophobic.
homophobic. Yeah,
That was
yeah,
one of the comments.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so being that's if that changes one mindset, that's amazing. And so just keep for those folks who want to be visible out there, it doesn't have to be on social media. You don't have to put your family in or
Or yourself at risk, but
yeah.
you being yourself is and being authentic to yourself is always the best thing at the end of
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
It is the end of the day. That's why we're.
I know.
Yeah,
It is the end of the day.
I feel you. I feel you. And I don't even have kids, so I can only imagine how you are. Well, we want to thank you so much for tuning in tonight, all of our guests. We want to thank Dustin and Burton for joining us. And we're going to show you guys' social media. And so if anybody wants to get connected to you guys, they can. We're going to throw those links into our description of this video, as well as the link to your guys' YouTube video. So if you're definitely wanting to check out their video for tomorrow, you can get through it through our description if you're watching now as well. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us, Dustin and Burton. Like I think there's a ton of wisdom in there, and so I think it's really going to resonate with our followers and be a big encouragement to them. So I'm going to sign off
Cool.
from you guys for tonight, and I thank you so much. Have a good evening, guys.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you
bye.
very much. See ya.
See ya. Thanks so much for watching tonight. I think that there is so much to pull from that, whether you're looking to have kids one day or not. I think it pulls our community even tighter as the LGBTQ community, and kind of know what it's like for others that are going through the process of getting either kids through a surrogacy or through adoption, whatever the case may be. It just brings a lot of information to us so that we can be a better, stronger community. I want to remind everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, be sure to share it with your family and friends. And until next time, be kind, be true, and be you.